I think it would be cool maybe if we switch gears a little bit and give people just a sneak peek in the quiz itself, because I know people are dying to know, like, all right, so what is the quiz responsible for getting these 1,100 leads in just a very short amount of time? Let's pull it up on the screen here and maybe talk to us a little bit about what we're looking at. Hey, this is Ryan Levesque here, and I'm really excited for our next special guest here today, because we're going to be talking about the story of a woman who recently launched a quiz in an interesting market, and just kind of out of the gate is getting some really exciting initial results. She's generating her first few sales, her first few hundred leads in a very short amount of time, and I love this story so much because she exhibited a ton of courage and grit to just get it out there. Maybe, you know, not feeling 100% ready or feeling 100% like it's absolutely everything she wanted it to be, but she just took action in spite of that and got some great initial results. And I think it's just the beginning. So I'm really excited to talk about her story, which I think you'll find very interesting and inspiring, and then also to take a look inside her quiz to give you some ideas around what your quiz funnel might look like based on hers. So I'm pleased and absolutely honored to bring our special guest of the hour, the one, the only Ms. Janeen Alley. Janeen, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much.
So tell us, you know, where in the world are you right now? And, you know, tell us a little bit about your business. Who do you serve and what do you sell?
So my family and I live outside of Denver, Colorado. I have 4 kids. My husband is a dentist in the military, so this is where we're currently stationed. And I help busy moms boost energy and lose weight through a plant-based lifestyle, even if they struggle to find time or stay consistent right now. So that's what I do. I'm a wellness and productivity coach.
I love it. It's great. And you know, what I love about your story is, you know, you've got other stuff going on in your life. You know, you're mom, you got 4 kiddos, you're probably moving around, you know, every so often. And, you know, we've all moved before, and, you know, moving's a lot of work. So to be doing all of that and get the results that you're getting in your quiz funnel, which we'll talk about, is really cool and really inspiring.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
So maybe talk a little bit about you know, where your business was at before the quiz. So maybe you could talk a little bit about, well, first of all, tell us a little bit, how'd you get into this? Because I'm curious how you got into this business in the first place. And then maybe talk a little bit about what your life was like and business was like before the quiz funnel, in terms of, you know, size of your audience and the activities that you're doing, the challenges that you're facing, and so on and so forth.
Okay, sure. So I have been in the health and fitness industry since 2001. I started out as a personal trainer, and I did group fitness for a little while. And then I started having kids, and I kind of backed off from that, but changed our family's diet to a plant-based diet in 2004. And just lifestyle in the Air Force, we moved to Japan in 2006. And I had a lot of people at that place. It was a really tight-knit community, and I had a lot of people start asking me for help. And I had just had my 3rd baby at that time. So Isaac was 4 months old, and I knew I didn't have the time to help everybody individually who was asking me for help. So I started my first course. I started a Skittle, actually, which is, for those of you who aren't familiar with that acronym, it's for Screw It, Do It Live, which is one of the things that we do inside of Ask Coaching. But I created my first course, and it was live, and I just kind of put it out there to anyone who was interested in doing it. And I got 30 people who wanted to come, and I did it every winter that we lived there. We lived there for 4 years. And by the end, it was a pretty big production. I had maybe 100 people coming, and I would cook food, and I would do slides and videos, and we would just have a big party. And I didn't charge a dime.
What?
I know. And that is something I'm going to put a pin in that for later. But in 2011, we moved our family to Germany. And I kind of tell time in military moves. So 2011, we moved to Germany. And it was a really difficult move for me. It was, and I feel like I'm a pretty resilient person, but this move was a real challenge for several reasons. And the first one was that I had gotten a pretty strong impression before we moved to homeschool our kids. And I know now it's like the super cool thing to do, but I had no idea what I was doing, and there weren't a lot of resources there. And so that was a challenge, and the weather and the isolation and how rural the community was where we lived was also a huge challenge. And because of the darkness and because it rained all the time, it was a beautiful place to live, but it rained all the time. I started to get really depressed. And I was kind of in this space where I knew what it was I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it. I mean, my background in fitness and health, I wasn't taking care of myself, and I found myself in this really super dark place. And so after 2 years of being there, again, it was another 4-year assignment, I was thinking about how I was going to get through another winter, and I thought, I have to do something to get myself out of this funk. And so I'm like, okay, I know what, I'll sign up for a half Iron triathlon. So I went from 0 to 70.3 in about 10 months. And that was the thing that got me kind of back on my feet. And in the process of doing that, I had a lot of my friends from not only the States, but also the friends that I'd made in Europe, like, how are you getting that all done? Like, how do you have like these 4 little kids and you're doing all this training? And the schedule that I had for my training was 11 workouts in a week. And I pretty much held myself to that because I'm like, I knew how out of shape I was. And I thought, if you don't train for this, you're going to die. Like, I don't want to die. So I'm going to get it done. And so what I was noticing though, was I didn't know how to answer those questions. I didn't know how to help other women figure out how to actually get that done in their lives. And one of the things I was noticing as well, thinking back to the classes that I taught in Japan, because they were almost a year apart, I could see the same faces, the same people returning to class year after year and not being able to actually implement the material the way that they wanted and make that lasting transformation that they so desired to make. Right. And so that kind of led me on a journey to self-help and really taking a deep dive into the psychology of change and what it really takes to create lasting results and to make those 180 shifts that people need to make in order to make that happen for people. So that's what I do. And I just kind of realized in the process, I am a little bit of a productivity expert. I kind of geek out on that. So
I love it.
I just kind of combined all my loves into that. And so that's what I do.
Well, it's so cool. I love that. What I love about your story is you've just taken your experience and your background and you've assimilated it in a way that's led you to where you are here today. And we all have such different and varied backgrounds. So someone watching this right now, I think what your story does, it really gives anyone listening to this permission to take the things that have worked out well in your life and then the things that have been challenges for you in your life and using those as learning experiences and then just helping other people along the path. And I think that one of my favorite expressions that one of my mentors shared with me is, to the fourth grader, the fifth grader is a genius. And really what that means is you only need to be one step ahead of where your customers are. You don't have to have, a PhD in productivity, literally or figuratively. Right. You just need to have figured out a few things that takes you maybe 1 or 2 steps ahead of where your customers are, and you're able to guide them along the way. And I love that you've done that, and you've taken that, and you've incorporated it into your business. So let's take us kind of to like the moment right before we had this quiz funnel that we launched. Tell us a little bit about what were the things you were doing in your business to generate leads, to generate customers, what were the challenges that you were facing in doing that? Just kind of paint us a picture of what life was like in your business before the quiz funnel.
Okay. So I have been trying to do business since 2015. Like I told you, business has never been really innate for me. And so it was a challenge. I started teaching classes out of my basement and having people come and practicing the things and reading all the books. I had read Ask, so I knew about list segmentation and all of those things. And and it was going slow, but I was finding a lot of people who were interested from my friends or friends of friends, referrals, those kinds of things. And I feel like I'm kind of the classic case of if you build it, they will come, right? So I had built it. I had created the course. I created the membership. And the struggle was always, how do I find new people? Like, where are my ideal customers? And how do I convert them into paying clients? And so I got the idea at the very end of 2018 to start a podcast. And so I podcasted consistently for 2 years. Every single week, I put out a show. Sometimes I would add a bonus if there was like a meditation or something I wanted to share with my listeners. And I was all in on that podcast. And it took a considerable amount of my time because I was doing all of it by myself. Like between 5 and 10 hours a week I would spend on producing a show.
Right.
And at the end of November of last year, I stopped the podcast. I had 104 episodes. And before the podcast went live, I had 187 people on my list. And it was from a previous course that I had taken. And I got 170 people there. And after 2 years and well over 500 hours of podcasting, I had 215 people on my list. So after 2 years, I increased my list by 28 people. And I had 13 clients in my membership. So that's where I was at. And I was kind of a serial course creator. Like I said, business wasn't super innate for me. I was a really good student. I would do all of the things. And then I would launch and then I'd be like, okay, that didn't work, but I don't know what to do to tweak it to make it work. And I just got so frustrated with people telling me like, this is so easy, or just do the next right step. Right. Because in my mind, there was like 50 steps, and I didn't know like, okay, how do I choose which one is the next right one? Because it all kind of just blended together and I got really distracted. And anyway, so then I would just sign up for another course. And yeah, so
I think a lot of people do that. I mean, I remember early in my career too, where I didn't have a clear path, and it's like, I'll try this person's thing, and I'll try this person's thing, and I'll try this thing and this thing, and you're just jumping one thing to the next because there is no clear path. Like this isn't like, all right, I'm going to become a doctor, so there's a path, right? You go to college, then you go to medical school, then you have your internship and your fellowship, and then you become a doctor. Like it's a proven path, and you just need to follow the steps. But when it comes to building an online business, it doesn't quite work like that. Like you've got to choose which is the right path, and there's so much confusion, there's so much overwhelm, there's so much conflicting advice out there. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people can relate to that experience of their equivalent of doing a podcast every single week for 2 years, and then at the end of the day having 200 people on your list to show for it. So 2 years. 200 people on the list, 500 hours, lots of work, not a whole lot to show for it. Now let's fast forward to after the quiz. So you decide, all right, I'm going to try a quiz. I'm going to do a quiz funnel now. That's going to be the next move. Talk to us about the results that you've gotten from this quiz in really a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah. So would you like me to share my screen with you?
I can share. I'll share screen. I'll pull up this. Okay. Which one do you want me to show? The screenshot of the results or the actual quiz itself?
Oh, yeah, either one.
All right, let's take a look at the results. I think this will be the point. So tell us what we're looking at here.
Okay, so the opt-ins are what so yeah, in a super short period of time. I mean, this was just from, just in a few weeks, I had over 11,000 opt-ins from my quiz. So for me, like,
1,100, right? Make sure I don't
1,100. Sorry,
okay,
1,100.
Yeah. It probably feels like 11,000.
1,100 opt-ins. Yeah. In just a few short weeks. And I mean, it could have been 11,000. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I mean, I've been at this for 6 years and I had, like I said, 200 people. So in just several weeks, I had over 1,000 people.
It's incredible. Okay. I mean, I think about it. I just think about when you hit these numbers, what it must have felt like for you. Like literally spending 2 years to get 200 people on your list, doing a podcast, like slogging it out, doing a podcast every single week, week in, week out, and sticking with it. Like good on you for, I'm not giving up. Like I'm not giving up on this dang thing. I'm going to do it until, but 200 leads, and then contrast that to turning on your quiz funnel, and in just a matter of weeks, over 1,000 people and counting have gone through your quiz, and this is just the beginning. I mean, like it's literally like this number will be 11,000 people in a very short amount of time with the pace that you're on right now. So that's really, really exciting. So I'm super impressed. I'm super happy for you. Before we kind of tell the final part of the kind of results story, I think it would be cool maybe if we switch gears a little bit and give people just a sneak peek in the quiz itself, because I know people are dying to know, like, all right, so what is the the quiz responsible for getting these 1,100 leads in just a very short amount of time. Let's pull it up on the screen here and maybe talk to us a little bit about what we're looking at.
Okay, so this is the landing page for the quiz.
Yep.
And like I said, I knew about list segmentation before from reading your book, Ask, but that's kind of what the quiz is all about, is helping people to kind of see, like, you know, what type of supermama are you? And then as they take the quiz, like figuring out what their kryptonite is. And so here's some of the questions. Just which age are you? Do you have kids at home? Which animal best describes your parenting style? And it is more of a playful quiz. The first quiz that I did was a killer quiz, and this one is more of a tight quiz, which I think works better in the wellness industry from what I've gathered from the marketing coaches. But this question is, if you had to pick one, what is your current favorite activity with your kids?
Love it.
And which one best describes your nighttime or sleep habits?
Sleep, I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's funny.
If you could choose one superhero sidekick, which would it be? And this starts to kind of transition them into thinking like, oh yeah, maybe I need a little help here. Which one best describes your super mama kryptonite? So this one is actually my segmentation question.
Oh, great.
The buckets that my women fit into are, they struggle with food and overcoming their cravings. They just don't feel well. They struggle to stay consistent when they start a routine, or they feel like they're so busy. So after asking lots and lots and lots of women over the last several years, these are the things that turned up the most.
And that's great. I love that you've done that. I love that you've taken your just pre-existing knowledge. Like, you don't have to, again, have, published, professional research papers. You can take your own experience that you've had just in life and conversations you've had with people in your market and use that to inform the different buckets that you're putting people into. And I love that you've done this here with this question and ultimately, able to much better serve people by knowing a little bit about who they are and where they're at. So we take people down this path. We ask them all these questions here, learning a little bit more about their situation. We get to a page that looks like this. I'm going to put my name. I might be the only dad on the Supermama, results list here, but that's okay. We'll play along. We'll have some fun with this. So we have this great result that you're going to be giving people, this report. And then what happens after I click continue? What happens when I go to the other side?
So after they go to the other side, they not only get the results to their inbox, but they also get a short video that's kind of their diagnostic video where I talk about the results that they're getting. And it's an opportunity for me to offer value for them and to kind of show them like the amazing things that they are doing as a mom, and then the help that they might need, from doing that. And then it perfectly segues into the next step of the funnel, which is the webinar, where I again offer value and then invite them to work with me. So it's a beautiful funnel.
I love that. It's so great. So if we come back to me here, I just want to underscore a few things here, and then we'll talk a little bit about the results that have really brought this all together. So, with a quiz like this, we're able to ask some questions to diagnose, in this case, a mom's situation. And then based on that information, we can speak to her specific kryptonite, her specific challenge that she's running into, offer some value, deliver, something of value before we're asking for anything in return, and not in a generic one-size-fits-all way, but we're really speaking to their situation. So they're watching that video and they're reading the report and saying, oh my gosh, Janeen, it's like, you could read my mind. Like, you know exactly what's going on. Like, how do you know me so well? So that the next question that they're asking themselves is, all right, Jean, it seems like you kind of know what's going on in my world. Like, what do you recommend? Like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. And it just sets you up beautifully to say, well, I'm glad that you asked, because this is what I help moms with all day, every day. And I have this webinar, this training that I'm doing on this topic, and I'd love to, invite you to be part of it. So we take people from this quiz, deliver all this value up front. It sets things up beautifully, and then we then take people to the webinar. So before we talk about webinar, you've gotten over 1,000 leads. Just what's the rough cost per lead? Because I think this will get people excited. Like rough cost per lead that you're paying right now.
So the lowest that I've gotten a lead for is 23 cents, and I keep my leads under 50 cents. So if the ad is above 50, then I cut off the ad. But I've gotten, the average is 36 cents per lead.
Wow.
I've gotten anywhere between 23 and 45, 48 cents per lead.
And that's insane, because this is a market that people would be really happy to pay a few dollars per lead. And that would be considered good. Like, that's what a standard approach. But with this quiz funnel, you're paying 36 cents per lead, which is absolutely incredible. I think you mentioned to me in some of the notes that I have that you're getting a 53% opt-in rate on cold traffic, which is like incredible. Like, that's amazing. But the biggest thing is like, all right, how do these leads convert? Like, are we able to convert them into customers? And I know you just did your kind of one of your first webinars here, and you got some initial results. I want to underscore that it's early days, that you don't need to have huge numbers, to make these things work. So tell us, how many people showed up to this webinar? How many people bought?
So last month I had 5 people show up to the webinar live, and I had 4 people purchase, which I know the numbers are small, but I mean, it was like the biggest happy dance of my life. Like, I can't believe that people converted. Like, I was blown away, So it was amazing. It was such an amazing experience. So yeah, but like you said, the numbers aren't super big yet. But I don't even care about that. It's just that I'm finally doing something that's working, and I have the support that I need to help me to navigate and tweak the parts of the funnel that aren't working from inside of the business coaching group, which is amazing.
What's great about this is I love that story so much. I can imagine you doing the happy dance, like when the first sale came in and you like refreshed your screen, refresh. And it was like, oh my gosh. Like, that's
exactly what happened. Yeah.
But what's cool about it is, you look at those numbers and you say, all right, if I can get 4 people to buy, then I can get 40 people to buy. It's just adding another zero. It's just getting more people to show up to the webinar, which is just more people through the quiz, and then connecting the quiz to the webinar so that they sign up right away, and getting as many people to that place, and just lather, rinse, repeat. You can see that path to go from your first 4 sales to your first 40 sales to your first 400 sales. And I can tell you it's a heck of a lot more rewarding to get that immediate feedback and people who are paying you money than to spend 4 years doing a free in-person workshop for 30 people that you're not getting paid for, or even worse, 2 years of a podcast every single week and have nothing to show for it. Like, you get this immediate feedback, and that's one of the things I love about a quiz funnel, is that you take it live and you get results really quickly, really fast, and it's feedback. So it's like, hey, I'm on the right path. Like, I'm on the right track, and it inspires you to say, all right, I'm gonna take that next step. I'm gonna push things further. I'm gonna, continue down this path, as opposed to cross my fingers and I'm hoping, it may work sometime down the road. Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, before we have to wrap things up in the time that we have, the last question that I'll ask Janeen is, there are people watching this right now, and I know people are watching this and they're inspired by your story. There are probably some other moms out there that are watching this, moms that maybe are juggling a lot of different things. Maybe there's even some military moms here, but certainly people who are like the people that you serve, that are trying to do a lot of different things. They're wearing a lot of different hats. They're stretched. They have something that they want to put out there. They desire to make an impact. They want to, make an income as well. And, they're watching this right now. And maybe they're in that situation where they're saying, do I do a podcast? Do I do this other thing? What do I do? What would you say to someone who's thinking about investing in and enrolling in and taking this next step to, jump into the quiz funnel training, who's watching this right now and they're on the fence? They're like, is this really something I should do? What would you say to that person who's watching this right now?
Oh my gosh, just go for it. And before I got on with you, I actually had totaled up all of the courses that I had purchased over the last 5 years. I have spent $72,170 just on courses. That's not on software. It's not on anything else. And this by far has been the best investment that I have ever made in my business. And I feel like I can say that having a lot of experience with a lot of other people, and the content that they have to offer is valuable. It's just incomplete. And that's one of the things that I just got so frustrated and tired with, was just being patient with the process and seeing peers who I had been in these courses with, like, take off with their businesses and being like, what the heck? I know there's nothing wrong with me, but it sure feels like it right now, Like, it was just so frustrating. And I think quiz funnels are brilliant. It's a wonderful way for people to have a great first impression and first interaction with you. It sets you up as the expert in your field. And it's just a beautiful segue, like I said, into the sequence of selling. And it makes all the rest of it so easy. You don't feel like you're having to chase people down or wondering where these people are. And they just like naturally come into your world, I think, like with the quiz funnel, which has been so exciting for me because that's never happened to me before. So that's what I would say. I'd say absolutely 100% go for it.
I love it. Janeen, your story is so inspirational. I'm so grateful for you taking time to share a little bit inside your business and tell us a little bit about your story and give us a sneak peek inside your life. And I just want to say thanks again for taking the time to be here because I know you've got a busy schedule. I know you got a lot going on. And I just want to say thanks.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for having me.
Cool. So that being said, again, this is Janeen Alley here, and you've heard from her incredible story of how she went from literally, spending 2 years doing a podcast every single week and generating just a little over 200 leads from the process. Fast forward to today, launching a quiz funnel, generating over 1,000 leads in just a few short weeks after launching. And in a very short amount of time after launching that quiz, generating her first sales, launching her program in the shortest amount of time possible. So if you'd like to get those types of results, if you'd like to learn more, if you're even just curious, here's what I'd like to invite you to participate in. Once a year, we do an entirely free quiz funnel workshop. It's a special thing. We do it once a year. And your timing is perfect because it just so happens to be happening right now. And I'd love to invite you to attend this workshop by going to the link quizfunnelworkshop.com. And in that workshop, we're going to cover how to set up your very own quiz funnel step by step. So we're going to go through dozens of examples. You saw one example here today. We're going to go through dozens of examples. We're going to talk about the 3 types of quiz funnels and how to decide which one is right for you. We're going to dive into things like the types of questions that you want to ask, questions that you never want to ask, what you should offer someone after they take your quiz, and how to come up with a juicy hook for that quiz to get the right type of people taking your quiz in the first place. Again, it all happens at quizfunnelworkshop.com, once a year workshop, and it is 100% free. So I'd love to invite you to attend. The link is on this video. It's on this page or on this post, quizfunnelworkshop.com. I invite you to attend, and I look forward to seeing you there live in a very short amount of time. So with that said, I want to wish you a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you inside the workshop. Take care and talk soon.